How about ghost students? Students that the federal government are paying to go to class but don't ever show up. I guess the colleges pocket the money. Who's behind the ghost students? Why would a student himself pay for this, not go to class, fail the course? You don't get the money. The school does. And this to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a report out by the California Globe that ever since the feds took over the student loan program, it used to be private lenders that lent out student loans at a lower rate. Now the feds took it over, basically putting the federal government in the business of banking, which is a bad idea on my part. But apparently there's an L.A. community college professor who says that up to 50% of her students she kicks out of the course after they fail to show up to class, they fail to take quizzes, and they fail to show up to a Zoom meeting. She calls them ghost students. One teacher had said that with this 2 quizzes and a Zoom model to weed out who's real and who's not, only 2 of 40 students were left in her class. Who's running this scam? I mean, is it the community colleges? Would the community colleges actually apply for students that don't exist? And are these professors that are weeding out? And they try to weed out the students because there's apparently a deadline from when you can drop the class. So they try to weed them out before the deadline to drop the class. So, the government's not paying money for this. We've got a total, and this is the math that the California Globe did. If just 1 student per class was a ghost student, in the Los Angeles Community College School District, okay, of the community colleges here, if just 1 student got $3,000 for each semester, that would total, after 4 years, $123 million. Now, this is out of the 10,286 students that they have here, or the potential to have here. They ran the numbers, $123 million. So how do we have ghost students? Well, apparently we have ghost students the same way we have ghost patients. Here's the common theme: Barack Hussein Obama. Obamacare. A recent study shows that 12 million patients on Obamacare had 0 claims for the year. Not 1 doctor visit, not 1 prescription, not one lab test, nothing. Now, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I don't like going to the doctors. But I've always got something, like I put my lab work in for insurance. I get lab work done every 6 months. I think they cover one of them. Prescription medications. I've got some prescription medications that I take, and not very many, but a few. I put it in for insurance. How do you have 0 claims? 12 million patients with 0 claims. So this means of those 12 million patients, the federal government paid for them $35 billion to insurance companies for services never used. I mean, they never went through with the services, but the insurance companies got paid. Now, an insurance company makes money because you are basically a glorified bookmaker, right? You're saying, okay, a certain percentage is going to remain healthy, certain percentage will get sick every now and then, and a certain percentage will have catastrophic injury or sickness. You've got to make sure that what you charge covers all of it, and much of that includes the people that rarely use the insurance. They're basically paying for everybody else. I get it. But to have 12 million patients that didn't use one thing of Obamacare, and then to have these students, 10,286 students that are ghost students in just 1 county community college district. That's L.A. County. That could be $123 million in loss in one county alone. How prevalent is this? And you wonder why America is broke ass busted. Well, it's broke ass busted because of this. So I believe Barack Obama creates this system that's ripe for fraud, and he does it on purpose. He doesn't mind that there's fraud. He just wants everybody to get free health care. They want to socialize everything. They want a single-payer system. You see this with Democrats now. One of the things they're going at President Trump with is they want the single-payer system. The single-payer, of course, is the federal government, which means the single-payer isn't really a single-payer. It means it's the people paying taxes in America, which isn't everybody. Most people using Obama, they're not paying Obamacare. They're paying very little in taxes. It isn't a fair system. But fairness has never been the goal of the left. They want to claim equity, but equity isn't about fairness. It's about taking from one and giving to another, bringing everybody down to an equal playing field instead of trying to rise all boats. Raise all the boats to a higher level, not bring everybody down, but this is what the Democrats do. This is what they want to do. So you have Senate Democrats now wanting to increase Medicaid by $1 trillion. They want to increase health care spending by $350 billion, all while you have 12 million people on Obamacare that aren't even using it. Are they even real? Or is this somehow fraudulent? What if, God forbid, the insurance companies were running the fraud? Like I say, the colleges were running the fraud. You see, the scheme here is the same. Get government to pay with no checks and balances. Just pay for everybody. And then someone's going to get rich over it. Now, you got to start tracking the money. That hasn't really been done. I hope the California Globe does get to the bottom of it and starts tracking the money. But to me, it's about as concerning a story as you can get. And this adds into just to show you the waste. We've got LADWP, which is water department. Paying out salaries of over $500,000 or money, because a lot of it's overtime, to over 100 employees. Make over $500,000 a year. One guy making over $800,000 a year, most of it in overtime. The CEO makes $750,000. So add in LADWP. Now you got Los Angeles County Community College District that's basically billing the federal government for ghost students. I'm sure. Just lining the coffers, because the feds are going to pay it. They don't care whether you show up to class or not. They're just going to pay it. And then you've got Obamacare with 12 million patients not claiming any services. The insurance company's glad to take that money. Glad to take it. So we're going to keep looking at this one because the waste, fraud, and abuse is out of control at every level of government. And it's going to take independent media to root it all out. Independent media like this outlet right here. Independent media like the California Globe, like the Gateway Pundit, like Real America's Voice, Salem News. All of it together, working together, we root it out. And it's got to be rooted out because it's sinking us, folks. It really is. Folks, I just read a report that shows Americans in record numbers are outliving their retirement savings. That puts you in a very precarious situation. Why is this happening? It's because the retirement strategies that most people are using are the same tired old strategies from the 1970s. What happens? Financial advisors get risk. The retirement companies get rich, but it often leaves you and your savings positioned very poorly. Companies like BlackRock and Vanguard keep getting bigger and bigger while your retirement savings struggle to keep up with the rising cost of everything today. It doesn't have to be this way. My great friends at Augusta Precious Metals have put together an important report tailored just for my audience. Many of you have over $50,000 in a retirement account, whether it's an IRA, 401k, or a TSP, which means you need to get your hands on this concise but powerful 2-minute report about how to take full control of your retirement and financial future. Here's what I want you to do. Visit grantlovesgold.com. That's grantlovesgold.com, or text Grant to 35052. Do it today. You'll get instant access to this 2-minute report. In it, you'll learn one step that you can take that will open the doors to a modern way to protect and grow your retirement. It uses the same strategies the wealthy use to protect their portfolios. Look, even companies like BlackRock and Vanguard are using these strategies themselves without sharing them with their clients. Well, now you can start taking advantage of them as well. So if you have over $50,000 in your retirement accounts, you need to contact my friends at Augusta Precious Metals. Visit grantlovesgold.com. That's grantlovesgold.com, or text Grant to 35052. Do it today. Your future self will thank you. So it could be everything signed with the auto pen is null and void. This oversight committee report is really quite stunning. They allege illegal activity by those inside the White House. They said there is no documentation for many of these orders signed as to did the president have any awareness of this. And the real chief player in this appears to be Jeff Zients, who was the chief of staff at the time, but it goes all the way back to Ron Klain. They say 5 days into the Biden presidency, they started using the auto pen.
So the entirety of his presidency, really.
You had doctors that testified there were problems with his cognitive ability. You had others inside problems with the cognitive ability. But Hunter Biden was playing a large role in who was getting pardons and who wasn't. And then when you think about who was pardoned where Joe Biden actually signed it, it was Hunter Biden and his brother.
That was
it.
Joe Biden's with brother. His real hand signature.
That was it. Yeah. 4,000 pardons the day of the election. And then
he was in the car with Trump.
Well, exactly. The day he's giving up office, basically, I should say. And then you've got, remember the story Speaker Johnson told about, hey, I was alone with the president, and I asked him, why did you ban the export of liquefied natural gas? And Joe Biden says, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Called for a study on it.
Right.
Well, meanwhile, there was an executive order banning the exportation of liquefied natural gas. I think that was an example of an overreach. So, Jen, I actually believe it amounts to a coup. You've stolen the power from the president of the United States of America. You've literally hijacked his power. Somebody ought to be charged with a crime.
Well, and then you give it to people who weren't elected to carry out his wishes. I mean, this is the thing. If there was proof that somehow Joe Biden said, "Oh, this is my document," but the fact that we instead have proof to the contrary, that he didn't even know some of the things that he signed, and I bet if you went back to him now, he would have no idea what actually had his signature on it.
Oh, now I think he's probably even gotten worse. Than he was when he was in the office, because this stuff happens very, very quickly.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It's fast and furious. And if you're not 100% sure of what you stand for or what you are doing, I mean, he doesn't know what was done during his presidency. Let that sink in. Even if he had issues, cognitive issues, you would think that he would probably have some idea about what happened during his presidency. I would bet you dollars to donuts right now, if you went to him and gave him a little quiz, a little questionnaire about some of the policies signed during his administration, including the border, he would not get the answers right.
I'd like to give him a quiz. He couldn't pass anything. Here's some quotes from the House Oversight Committee report. The biggest political scandal of our time. And I do believe that's true when the people gave Joe Biden the power. All right. Now, I actually believe the election was stolen, so I think that was given by Democrats, too. But if you go under the assumption, give him the benefit that he won, which I don't think he did, but the people had given him the power. That power was stolen by somebody in his office. Here's another quote. Biden's inner circle sought to deceive the public.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got his inner circle, and there are emails going back and forth. And if you read the report, there's one part where even his own DOJ is calling into question the use of the auto pen, saying, I'm not sure you ought to be doing this.
Right.
It may be some legality issues here. And lo and behold, who's the only one he does it for is Hunter.
Yep. His family.
So what happens now? Do we get accountability? Now, here's the thing.
I doubt it.
Responsible for it, many of them were given pardons. But if the pardons are rendered null and void, well, now you can go back after them.
I actually think that there's probably an argument. If you have a reason to look at someone or indict someone, there is a reason that you could probably test this, right? You could test the power of the pardon, especially because preemptive pardons just in and of itself already sound a little bit suspect, I think, to most of us, much less not even having his own signature on them.
I know this again gets into my sounding like I'm defending. I'm not defending Biden for what he did. But I do believe preemptive pardons are legal under the way it is written in the Constitution that gives the president pardon power.
I'm not talking about the legality of it. It just feels bad, right? When you have
it feels
bad. But I don't know if it's necessarily a legal argument. The legal argument comes if the signature is valid, and the signature we know is not valid. So
oftentimes what's legally and what's morally acceptable are two totally different things.
Exactly right.
And in this case, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, if I was president of the United States and my son's laptop was leaked like this and there's all this thing, and I send Wyatt out to do my bidding to enrich my family, would I sign a pardon for my son?
As a father, you would think that you would.
Probably.
Right.
I would. Yeah, I would. And didn't I say early on that it's going to tell you a lot about who Joe Biden is as a father if he doesn't sign the pardon?
See, it's really funny in all of this. I'm less concerned, and maybe you guys chime in on this too, 855-785-8255, and I see you all standing by. We'll take your phone calls coming up here in a second, but maybe see if you're on the same page with me. I'm curious to know what you think about this, Grant. I am not concerned with Hunter Biden. I feel like we know the bulk of what Hunter Biden did. What I am concerned about is the Bidens that we don't know about. I'm concerned about Jim Biden. I'm concerned about Valerie Biden, who worked very closely with Joe Biden in the White House. I'd like to know what they did. I would like to know what orders Joe Biden, the big guy, actually gave. That's what I care about, because I think we know a lot of Hunter Biden stuff now. I don't know that he has any secrets left. Maybe he does, maybe a few doozies, but we know a lot.
There may not be any secrets left on him, But the reason why Hunter's important is because Joe dispatched Hunter Biden to enrich his family.
He was a soldier.
With the power of his position. He was using the taxpayers'
he was the
position
idiot.
to get him to be president of the United States or vice president of the United States. And he's using that power to enrich the family. Hunter Biden's a part of that. But, in some strange way, as I look back at this, I almost look at Hunter Biden as a victim.
I do too. I think that both Jill and Joe, and you can see this, by the way, in
Jill
communications.
Is not a victim.
No. Jill and Joe were victimizing, I think, Hunter. Now,
yes.
Look, you can't feel sorry for a grown man who should make his own choices, but you can look at an addict who is going through all of his own weirdness, and you can say this guy was used and abused by his own family to carry out the family's crimes. And so that's why I say I'm more interested in Jill, and I'll add her to the list, but Valerie, Jim, and Joe, they're the big fish in this, I really believe.
Think about this. If it was just the corruption from the Biden family, that would be the biggest thing. We would want retribution for that. We would want someone to pay for that. But the problem is the corruption of enriching the Biden family ended up being less than the lawfare against President Trump, the lawfare against citizens for J6, the overreach of COVID and the putting people out of business and the use of the auto pen to do who knows what inside the federal. All of that, to me, outweighs the corruption of Joe Biden.
I think so, too, because it matters to the bulk of the people. It
but
matters to all of us.
But if it was just the corruption, if we didn't have all those other things I mentioned, it would have been the biggest story ever. Folks, what if I told you you could lock into up to 20% annualized interest on your investment And this group would pay you that interest monthly, direct cash flow into your bank account. I'm doing this with the folks over at get20now.com. This is about Bitcoin mining. It's about taking advantage of the Bitcoin craze without the wild swings. You lock into, as I said, up to 20% interest, depending on the deal you make with them. And they have lived up to all their promises to me. Every month, like clockwork, I get that money deposited into my bank account. I've made a sizable investment with the folks at NFN8. I want you to contact them, get20now.com. Answer the call or call them back when they get with you. You'll be talking to one of the principals in the company. His name is Corey. He's a great guy. They all think like us. They believe in the same things we do. And I'm a big fan of this company, NFN8.com. So if you want to take advantage of the Bitcoin craze, but you don't want the wild swings, I want you to talk to the folks at get20now.com. That's get20now.com. Pay them a visit today. Obviously, there are people very upset about where the New York City mayor's race is going.
I'd say the whole world should be upset about where the New York mayor's race is going.
This has implications everywhere, including here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, have, a leader of Islam being the mayor of New York City is problematic.
It's not even just the leader of Islam. Like he's buddying up with co-conspirators from the 1993 World Trade Center bombings.
Come on.
Leaders of the Holy Land Foundation were instrumental in funding money overseas to terror groups, including Hamas. It's wild. So the talk is that Sliwa, who is the so-called conservative in the race, the founder of the Guardian Angels, he's the one who wears the red beret all the time.
Who I want to say for the record, I absolutely love. I love Curtis Sliwa.
He's a great guy. And I'm not going to be here to tell you that he's the strongest conservative in the world, because I've argued with him over gun rights before. But he certainly is better than Cuomo. And he certainly is better than Mamdani. Yeah. And he knows what he's doing. He's been around the block in New York City politics. So they're asking him to step down. Though there was a new poll that came out. And the poll had Sliwa at 40% against Mamdani, one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Cuomo at 38% against Mamdani, one-on-one.
Where was that? So I just looked at a CBS poll that shows Mamdani leading Cuomo 44-34 and Sliwa at only 11%.
Well, what you're looking at is three people in the race.
A three-person race, sure.
So if you take it to where there's only two people in the race and you look at the polling, so the polling shows that Sliwa does better against Mamdani than Cuomo does. And that actually makes sense, because now what you're doing is you're bringing in what few Republicans they are into the mix, and then whatever so-called independents, if they even exist in New York City, that don't want a radical terrorist as a mayor. Okay,
you weirdos.
So it shows that Sliwa. So, but everybody's yelling and screaming for Sliwa to get out of the race. Early voting has started in New York. Sliwa's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's
which
staying
means
in.
With the two guys in the race,
it's done.
I think it's a cakewalk for Mamdani.
He loves it, and it makes my skin crawl. Andrew Cuomo, I believe, has blood on his hands from the COVID pandemic.
He does.
It's just there's no way that you can look at that guy and say he deserves to have another job as an elected official. So for me, I hate to even say that somebody like Curtis Sliwa needs to drop out, but Mamdani is so dangerous that I don't think it's okay that we just let it happen. Look, I know there are people, and I think, Grant, you might be one of those people, because you sometimes say LA gets what they deserve, New York's going to get what they deserve.
I'm a big get what you deserve guy.
And look, in my heart, I kind of say, you know what? Yeah, stupid. You want it? You got it, right? I mean, this is how our country works. But at the same time, allowing this guy and what he stands for to become the mayor of New York City? What does that tell you? I mean, what kind of message are you sending to the rest of the country? And forget the country, the world.
Well, it tells me that New York has moved even further left than I ever thought it was. I always knew New Yorkers were Democrats, but it's a big union town, a lot of hard workers. People get on that train in the morning. LA knows about a brutal grind, like driving to work. The traffic is brutal, but the brutal grind in New York is that damn subway system.
Yeah, and New York has a special kind of pessimism that LA doesn't have.
That's very true. That's nice you call it a special kind of pessimism, but it can be a brutal pessimism. In some respects, I think that's where I get a little bit of it from, right?
It's really funny. So I will tell you, it's obviously we all have our own experience. It's very weird for the 6 o'clock club to admit. But when I was a younger woman and I used to have to travel to New York a lot, I used to do a lot of stuff with cable television. I think I've told you about that in my 20s. And so, I'd go out on the town when I was there. Do you know how well I would do on the East Coast? And I think, honestly, it was my energy more than anything else, because I don't think women there have the same kind of energy that they do in LA. It's like
they're angry.
People are desperate for just somebody who is not angry all the time.
Yeah, they're angry all the time.
It is the weirdest thing. So ladies, if you need to head east, maybe I'm just telling you, mix
all
it
right,
up a little
so this
bit.
is on a whole nother topic, but I actually believe New York has a shortage of good women.
Yeah.
And an overflow of good men.
I think that's actually true.
And I'll tell you why. You get a lot of Italians, a lot of Jews that are really family-oriented. Loyalty is everything. Provide for the family. They're very traditional. So you've got a whole slew of guys that work hard. There's a lot of guys that make a lot of money, and you can find yourself a good man. There's a shortage of good women.
Isn't that interesting? But here, you probably have more good women than you do good men in LA.
I don't know.
Or maybe just nobody's good here.
I'm almost thinking that you don't have good men, right?
In LA, you have a lot of great men in the suburbs. Let's just talk about that.
You've got beta males all over the place in LA. And then I look, I call Dallas home a lot. That is a trust fund baby town, man. That is oil money town, and you got these guys with the hair and the stupid looks and the pants that are too short, and they are living off daddy's money, and they tell girls they're going to the ranch, but it's really not their ranch, it's their dad's ranch. And you have a shortage of good men in Dallas. I believe you have a shortage of good men in Dallas. That is that hardworking,
legit people, real people.
Real people.
Yeah.
New York really does have it. The only problem in New York is they're duped by politics too.
Yeah. And I would say this, though. I don't understand how you get duped this hard. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of Democrats in New York, but I want to believe that Democrats still love women and gay people. And I want to believe that Democrats still love Jewish people. And this is not what Mondami's people are all about. I mean, they'll throw you
Democrats
up.
don't love Jewish people.
They don't.
They
Sadly.
don't. And there's a growing number of conservatives that don't love Jewish people. So Jewish people right now are in a really, really bad spot. And we're in a Jewish town, by the way. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. But L.A. is a Jewish town.
Yeah.
And I hope if you have Jewish friends or you're Jewish listening, know that people like Jen and I that support Israel, and I know there are so many Jews in America that were uninformed before all this happened, that would almost be offended if you even brought, I'm not Israeli.
Right.
I'm Jewish. Well, I'm not saying anybody's Israeli, but I'm saying is we support the homeland.
Yeah. Your ability to live. How about that?
Your ability to live. And you know what? Israel is also the homeland of Christians. It's the Judeo-Christian partnership.
And without that partnership, we all fail.
Yes, and people forget that. So, and if you need a good banker, you better be friends with the Jews.
Write your letters to Bossman Rodney, Salem Radio.
Hey. No, you got to have a little fun with it, right?
We have to have a little fun. That's what we're doing today.
Another non-scale victory that I kind of wanted to share with everyone is I have never enjoyed a program more that gives me food freedom. I've been able to eat a bagel. You know what I'm saying? Like if you find the right bagel, you can eat a bagel. And it's been freeing to just, I don't know. I like it.
Well, that's a new term to me. And my guest is John Jubilees, the founder of Energized Health, what that young lady is talking about. Food freedom, John. That sounds good to me if you're trying to lose weight.
Hey, Grant, I love to tell people that God gave us taste buds because food tastes good. God gave us taste buds because food tastes good. So that'd be mean for God to put taste buds in our body if we're not allowed to eat good food, right? And so So we've always taught for 27 years that, listen, we're going to teach you how to get healthy at the cellular level so that you have a metabolism like you did when you were 17 years old. So come on, who doesn't like tacos? You know what? I love tacos. I love pizza. Come on, who doesn't love tacos and pizza? This is America, man. Cheeseburgers. So you can eat all food in moderation, Grant, with what we teach people.
So when you get hydrated at a cellular level, is it that the metabolism kicks in so much? I mean, I know you can't eat pizza probably 3 meals a day for 7 days a week, but is it that when you decide to have that pizza that one night that your metabolism is kicking so good because of this intercellular hydration?
It really is, Grant. It's just optimized. And again, I tell people to think back. Think of when you were 17 years old. You never woke up and said, oh, I better not have a pizza today. I better not have a cheeseburger today. Well, no. Why? Because you had such a metabolism that you knew in moderation, you could eat anything in moderation. So think about it. Most of us growing up, you know what? Even if you could eat it, you only ate pizza once a week, right? You had pizza on Friday night after the football game or so that's like a once a week thing for me, but I have a double sausage, double pepperoni pizza, once a week. I take my boys golfing every week. I got twin 11-year-olds and we always go to In-N-Out Burger and, we get the double, cheeseburgers, at In-N-Out, and we eat everything in moderation, but no, of course we don't do that 3 times a day, but it is because when you're optimized at the cellular level, you have a metabolism like you did when you were 17. And again, moderation's the key, but you can eat anything in moderation.
Yeah, and I will say you do change a little bit away about how you eat, when you eat, and this kind of thing. But John, I was never once hungry on this. And you hear about people that go on these fad diets, they're always hungry, and then in turn they're hangry. On Energized Health, I found my attitude improved.
You know what? 1,000%, 1,000%, Grant. Same thing for me, by the way. So no, every time I went on some diet, which I did the 10-year diet yo-yo, guys, I'm raising my hand too. That was my experience. And for 10 years, I was miserable on every single one of these diets. And why? Because they all work for a minute, but you're torturing yourself. So anybody could go on that cabbage soup diet, or the cardboard, boxed meal diet. Of course, you're going to lose weight on that because you're suffering. You're just depriving yourself. So will you lose weight? Yes. But what weight are we losing? We're losing our healthy hydration. First 10 pounds is always hydration. Then we're losing lean muscle. Finally, we're losing a little bit of fat. But what happens as soon as we stop depriving ourselves, we go right back to where we were, because the body never got a chance to reset your metabolism. It never got a set to reset and optimize its organs. And so that's the difference of our science. Our science goes to the cellular level to get a complete reset that will be reset for the rest of your life.
All right, so you're not just losing body fat. We've talked about people losing 200 pounds on this. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks on this and have kept it off. And that's really all I needed to lose to stay in a healthy form. But you also talk about the mind turning around. You talk about chronic disease turning around, joint pain turning around. All that is possible with this, John.
Well, it really is. No, when your cells are healthy, your brain is 70% hydration. And why does your brain need to be 70% hydration? Because it is an electrical organ. It's electric. It's an electromagnetic organ. It takes water to conduct the electricity. And if you don't have the hydration to conduct it, it's like pulling, 5 of the 8 plugs. You have 8 plug-in connectors in your brain. If you pull 5 of them out, it's not going to kill you, but it is going to take away your energy. It's going to take away your focus. It's going to give you brain fog. You're going to lose some memory. You'll survive, but you'll never thrive without that. And so that's why, Grant, people find that, oh my word, I have so much joy. I got my sense of humor back again. I'm sharp. My mental acuity just spiked, through the roof. I have more contentment. I deal with stressful situations 10 times easier than I used to, because that cellular hydration optimizes every organ, including our brain.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And lastly, before I let you go, John, you've got a money-back guarantee like none others. I mean, it's basically blanket. If you're not happy, money-back guarantee. And a success rate. I guess you can do it because your success rate is what now?
Yeah, it's 99.1%. We're fully medically approved, Grant. And what that means for people is, when you have medical efficacy that you have documented that you reverse illness, you reverse disease, you cause fat loss, not weight loss, that's medical level. That's a medical level. And so that's what we are. People can finance our program on Care Credit. But we give 100% money back guarantee, Grant, because we're not trying to take people's money. People know our heart. We've been around for 27 years, transforming tens of thousands of people's lives. You get to know us. You go look at all the reviews online, Better Business Bureau, Trustpilot, Facebook, Google. Go look at them. All you'll see is this. It sounded too good to be true, but it changed my life. And so we love to put our money where our mouth is. We know if people will do what we share, we are like the health GPS of the world, the health GPS. You can plug in where do you want to get to, and we can help you get there.
Well, I love it. It's why I'm so grateful to be associated with Energized Health, energizedhealth.com. That's energizedhealth.com. There's a master class there. Take the master class as well. And as always, a big thank you to you, John Jubilee, on behalf of me and all of the tens of thousands of clients that you've helped over the years.
Thank you, Grant. Love you, brother.
Absolutely. Right back at you, my friend. Mamdani the madman is like this close to becoming the next mayor of New York City. It is really crazy because this guy would be a disaster.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
So now his aunt's the victim of September 11th. 3,000 people died that day. And by the way, total lie. His aunt was living in like Tanzania or something. And apparently she doesn't even wear a hijab. We have a picture of her to prove it. So his aunt here doesn't even wear a hijab. And she was living in Tanzania. So, of course, Mamdani then responded to that criticism of his lie.
I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo.
Tells you everything about him. He is a lying dirtbag that hates America and hates Americans. This is all part of the Islamic takeover of America. That I promise you. Now, why don't we just deport him? I mean, I laugh when I say that, but this is actually an idea. And at first thought, you can't deport him. He was naturalized in 2018. You can't just deport American citizens. But wait. Apparently, he lied about his support for the Holy Land Foundation. You know, that was the group that was funding all those terror groups overseas. He lied about his love of co-conspirators of the first World Trade Center bombing before he was naturalized. If you fraudulently obtained a citizenship, you can be denaturalized, can't you? Congressman Ogles, who was on Steve Bannon's show.
Although it's in the kind of the 11th hour, I think there is the opportunity to review his status, to look at his forms, to see that he was actually aligned with a communist Marxist organization that's very anti-American that would have disqualified him from being a citizen. Therefore, they could revoke it and send his butt back to Uganda.
It would have disqualified him. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I think that's a long shot from happening. So now my focus is on New Yorkers, trying to drum some common sense into my home city. I don't like to tell people that anymore. And in some respects, if he doesn't win, New York, you get what you deserve. But I know a guy who's fighting out there for Curtis Sliwa. He's a friend of mine, Curtis Sliwa, and the guy fighting for Sliwa is a friend of mine as well. The patriot artist, activist, Scott Lebedo is back with us. Staten Island native. Scott, welcome back to the show.
got to start off with this, and I hope I don't piss people off, your fans, your friends. I am tired of everyone talking about this boogeyman. We all know how horrible he is. At this point in the game, there's only one option that New Yorkers have, and that is to back Curtis Sliwa. And you got to give me time to explain this. Everybody knows how horrible Ma'am Dandy is. Everybody. We know that. Everybody knows that. So we need to focus on Andrew Cuomo, who to me is public enemy number one, because Ma'am Dandy exists, and I say his name incorrectly on purpose, exists because of Mario Andrew Cuomo and Adams and Hochul and de Blasio. They created this element. So right now, everybody's panicking. And what we have are two different kinds of people in this city. All of these hoity-toity high-end folks, like Megyn Kelly, who does not even live here anymore. John Katsimides, who owns WABC, a billionaire. Dov Hickman, who was back in Curtis, now moved to Cuomo. Bill Ackman. The list goes on and on. The New York Post. Folks, let me fill you in on a little something. The New York Post ain't the effing New York Post anymore. The same family owns that Fair and Balanced News Network that is also back in Cuomo. It ain't the same people anymore. Now, what I need to drive into you New Yorkers' heads out there, and when I'm pointing at you, I mean you, me, the hard-working New Yorker. Because everybody I mentioned, all of these bigwigs that are going for Cuomo, they have a home, a second home outside New York City. They have enough money to move out of this city tomorrow. Do you, as a New Yorker who busts your ass, picking up garbage, driving people around, putting fires out, protecting people, driving the trains, on and on. There are more of you. Are you? And do you have enough money to move out of here tomorrow? No. Yeah. They are suckering you people. Do you understand that? If you want to save this city and your livelihood, you must back Curtis Sliwa now. It's a split vote. Curtis isn't going anywhere. Stop telling him to jack out. The early voting started.
Well, Scott, let me show you this, because I think people are ignoring this. This is the head-to-head polls that has Curtis Sliwa closer than Cuomo is when they go head-to-head. So that's Sliwa, that's Cuomo. Sliwa's 2 points ahead of Cuomo. Why are they telling people for Sliwa to drop out when Cuomo's a serial killer? He's the guy that needs to drop out. He sent our loved ones into nursing homes only to get them killed during the COVID pandemic. This guy's a disaster. Do you have an answer for that?
Yes, I have an answer for everything. And I'm tired of Megyn Kelly's, all of them. For 4 generations, I'm in this city. And for 40 years of my life, every day, you know that, I'm in the city streets fighting for my city. And the only one that does it more than me is Curtis Sliwa for 50 years. The reason that people are going for Cuomo is because they are petrified. They are scared. And I am the only one besides Giuliani, Frank Morano, a handful of people that are trying to let people understand the situation. Man Dandy is going to win unless you stop that on-the-fence chicken mentality and back Curtis. It's a split vote. Cuomo, let me finish. Cuomo lost the primary. He was out of it. He should have went off into the sunset, but he got back in to screw it. I told everybody it was Curtis's to win. He would wipe the floor with Ma'am Dandy head-to-head because it's the Giuliani effect, people. Democrats and independents own the votes here, and they did it in 93 for Giuliani. They would have done the same thing, and they're going to do the same thing for Curtis. But everybody needs to get on board now.
Well, Scott, there's nothing I could say that would put it any better than you just put it. The future of New York City is on the line with this election. As you say, the madman cannot win, Mamdani, and Sliwa's your only choice. New York will be a disaster with Cuomo as well, and I hope New Yorkers wake up. I so appreciate it. I know you're fighting hard for Curtis, Scott,
Let me slide this in, please, really quick. Let me slide this in.
Real quick.
People need to understand that they're trying to save this city by getting Cuomo in. Cuomo is kicking the can down the road. What he's going to do is create Mamdani to get more powerful. There'll be more of them in 4 years. It'll never end.
I agree.
Curtis is the only way to stop it in his tracks. There's still time. New Yorkers, get on board. Now!
I agree. God bless you, Scott Lebedo, and God bless the people of New York. And if they make the dumbest decision of electing this Mamdani over Curtis Sliwa, in some respects, my home city, they're going to get what they deserve, and it's going to get real bad. That I can guarantee. You see this cell phone right here? This is supported by Patriot Mobile. They are my service provider. They're the official service provider of Stinchfield's Army. Why? Because the folks at Patriot Mobile think like us. They believe in the same things we believe in. They're putting constitutions in schools, 10 commandment signs in classrooms across America, supporting our veterans, fighting for our gun rights, fighting for right-to-life issues. You name it, Patriot Mobile is on the front lines. But beyond that, it's great service. You get to choose which network you want to be on. You get 100% U.S.-based customer service. So you know when you call, you're going to get an English-speaking person right here in America that's going to help you quickly. Their customer service, by the way, is fabulous. Switching is easy. Keep your phone, upgrade your phone, get a new phone, whatever you want to do. Patriot Mobile will help you. And when I tell you switching is easy, it literally takes minutes. So here's what I want you to do. Go to patriotmobile.com/grant. That's patriotmobile.com/grant. Or you can call them at 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. And tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us. I'm Grant Stinchfield. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, Stinchfield 1776 on all the social media platforms. GrantStinchfield.com is the website. You get all the podcasts there. And please, if you're watching, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, like the video. Heck, copy and paste the link if you want to, and share it on all of your social media platforms. This is how we get the word out there. So stick with me. Please, again, GrantStinchfield.com. That's GrantStinchfield.com. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of all of you. We'll see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show. Thanks for watching, everybody.